Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Seriously, leave it to the guys that work at Gearbox and 2K to come up with a hilarious name like that. The game takes place directly after the events of Borderlands 2, but the whole game is a flashback from the events after Borderlands 1, but before Borderlands 2. Confused? Good. The game opens up like any other Borderlands game does. An action-packed cinematic with some kick-ass tunes. Ah, so metal! I mean, talk about publicity. Does anybody remember the comment section to Ain't No Rest for the Wicked after Borderlands 1? If you don't, scroll through them now, they're hilarious. Literally the entire comment section is, "Oh, I liked this song before Borderlands came out." Whatever, bro. Go fuck yourself. Afterwards, you're faced with some of the shittiest choices of characters in any Borderlands game. You have Athena the Gladiator, whose ability lets you absorb damage and throw it back at the enemy. Nisha the Lawbringer, whose ability is pretty much auto-lock. Wilhelm the Enforcer, who can summon 2 combat drones, one that attacks the enemy and the one that protects you. And finally, Claptrap the Frag Trap, whose ability is completely unpredictable and random. Literally. You might notice that all these characters from different Borderlands games and DLC, so not much thought went into creating them. But it offers a chance to see more of the background to each character. You might say, "Oh, you can pick Claptrap? Don't you want to be Claptrap?" Let me tell you, he's a completely worthless character that is only tolerable because of his hilarious dialogue and the ability to not need oxygen. Plus, he just looks awkward whirling and jumping around in space. The obvious choice here is Captain America with the titties. The game opens up directly after the events of Borderlands 2 and goes to a flashback sometime after Borderlands 1. You are working for Jack and are on the Helios station and are under attack by the Dahl military, trying to stop Jack from finding and opening a vault. The leader of the Dahl military is some crazy bitch named Colonel Zarpedon, who you may remember from the first game, who will do anything to stop him.
You want to wait? You're busy? That's cool. I'll just bleed over here internally for a while. Here, it's a super fun way to pass the time.
Jack somehow keeps his cool, for some reason saying "son of a taint" all the time.
Oh, son of a taint. Son of a taint! Son of a taint!
What does that even mean? He never says it in 2, so why does he say it like every other goddamn sentence? This begs the question. Does something happen to Jack's taint between this game and Borderlands 2? So much so that it turns him evil and he cannot reference his or anyone else's taint for that matter? Probably not. At this point in the game, you do not know Jack's real intentions yet, although he seems like the hero in the game rather than the villain like he is in Borderlands 2. Right off the bat, it spiked my curiosity of what made him break bad between this game and Borderlands 2 and get me immersed in the story. Playing through this game makes me want to go back to the Pandora Wastelands and play through Borderlands 2 again, so I can pick up some of the key things I may have missed after playing the prequel. Now you might say, hey, this game doesn't look any graphically better than Borderlands 2. In fact, it looks the same as Borderlands 2. Shouldn't this game look better on next gen? Well, guess what? It's not on next gen. This game released on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC using the same engine for Borderlands 2. You're telling me I have this brand spanking new Xbox One that I have to unplug and replace with a console I haven't used in over a year? Are you f***ing serious? That, my friends, was the decision of the Gearbox president Randy Pitchford, who claims that, "Oh, anybody who owns next gen still has their last gen console sitting around gathering dust somewhere. Why waste money and just force people to go back to their old consoles? Everybody wants to do that." Well, fuck you, Randy. Way to alienate half your Borderlands players. Force me to play last gen again. Randy, no. No. Get your ass back down there. Now you might think that this game is literally just copy and paste, but I really do think it's its own game, regardless of it looking the same. The game has many new mechanics and a whole array of new weapons, upgrades, and items. Jumping around on Pandora's moon is fun in itself, and constantly monitoring your oxygen adds a new mechanic to the Borderlands game that keeps the gameplay fresh and fun. You run out of oxygen, you're fucking dead. The oxygen mechanic also adds a new piece of gear to your arsenal, Oz-Kits. These change your capacity of oxygen, change the effectiveness of weapons and ground slams, and adds many more mods to the gameplay. Especially in a Borderlands game, adding a new piece of gear like this is huge and really adds yet another layer to the gameplay. I wonder what they're going to do with Borderlands 3 to keep it fresh and unique from the other Borderlands like this one does. Well, we might not actually even have to worry about that because there might not even be a Borderlands 3 for a very long time, but we'll get into that later. Fans will be happy to know that the humor in this game is on par with previous titles, as you'll be laughing your ass off throughout the whole entire game.
3110, forbidding unlicensed interplay between— Oh my god! You stole my girlfriend, you meatbag! Open this door! Ow! Serena!
Other times the humor isn't on purpose. They really didn't mess with the writing quality either, as it engages you in each mission, whether it's a side quest or a story quest. Each side quest usually has a satirical objective and writing to it, so you won't feel like you're grinding as you do in most other RPGs. Speaking of immersion, your character actually talks in the game and interacts with the NPCs differently. For example, an NPC's dialogue will change whether you're Athena or Wilhelm. This is something different that will add a lot of replay value to the game, and it isn't the same experience every time you play through it.
So what are you doing here? We need to get back to Helios Station, but we can't until we take down a jamming signal somewhere on this moon.
In other words, it's a huge step up from the random grunts and screams made from the last games. I really hope they keep this type of dialogue up for the next game in the franchise. But immersion's all old news for Borderlands veterans, right? What about the guns? The hundreds of thousands of guns? Once again, you'll not be disappointed. As you may already know, Borderlands is a random gun generator where it can match different guns to different abilities and statistics, so much so that there's a countless number of unique weapons in the game. This game brings a whole new set of weapons to the table, with almost every weapon I've encountered being new to the franchise. You'll have laser weapons, guns that fire single shot when zoomed out but burst when zoomed in, different elemental damages. There's a lot of fucking weapons in this game. This is what makes this game feel truly independent from Borderlands 2, along with the new environment, even though it's the same engine and UI. I feel like the difficulty definitely got up from the previous titles. I don't know if it's just that I'm not used to the environment, or that I'm just terrible at Borderlands, but I find myself dying again and again. This is a good thing. In the last titles, you'll be able to beat the game and start your second and third playthrough before it even started to get difficult. This means if you wanted to start a new character, the first time through the game would be a cakewalk, especially if you already been through the game with another character. I know several people that didn't get in Borderlands because of this very reason, and I feel it would engage more people if they up the difficulty from the very beginning like this one does. The driving in this game is terrible. It has always been bad in Borderlands games, but especially in this one it sucks ass. Every bump and crack will spin you around and make you feel like you're drunk off your ass. Imagine driving Warthogs in Halo, except you're blindfolded and spinning upside down. That's what it's like driving in Borderlands the pre-sequel. In fact, I think I've had better times driving in Watch Dogs. I'm not kidding. This game has its fair share of glitches, especially in the PC version. They seem to be related to driving as well. For example, try falling into the lava when driving the buggy. You'll go into the lava Terminator style and the map will glitch out. Or try having an enemy spawn inside you when you're driving around. The game will literally take a shit. Boost up inside of a building with a stingray and you'll have a seizure inside the ceiling. Don't get out or your fucking arm will fall off and you'll die. So that just happened. The enemies are kind of a mixed bag. On one hand, each enemy is completely new and has its own way of defeating. But on the other hand, I feel like not much thought went into making them compared to Borderlands 2. You have this weird space lava skag that keeps multiplying or something, and then you have lunatics and outlaws that die like every other enemy and look like somebody took a fucking iron to their face. There just isn't a lot of variety here like there previously was, and you'll find yourself just running past them instead of actually fighting them. Where enemies I feel took a step back, bosses took a step forward. Here you'll find an array of new bosses with unique mechanics, not just the run and gun you see in other RPGs. Most of the bosses have unique loot and weapons that distinguish themselves from the rest of your loot, and they're hard enough to get that you won't be forgetting the fights. The game will require your attention for them, especially the ones leading up to the end. The thought put into these bosses makes me excited for the DLC, and what kind of new fights and unique loot there will be. Throughout the game, you'll continue exploring Pandora's Moon, uncovering more about Jack's past along the way. Overall, I give this game a solid 8 out of 10. It'll keep you invested up to the very end, and will have you begging for more content to throw your hard-earned money at. It'll last you about 15 to 20 hours, and it will tempt you to start another playthrough for better loot and harder challenges. This game really does make me excited for the future of Borderlands, and I cannot wait for the third one, which hopefully moves to the next gen. So when can we expect a third one? Well, you might want to get comfortable on the moon, because Randy also commented on that, quoting, "If there's going to be a Borderlands 3, and what that would be, we imagined what that might be, and frankly, it scared us. It's like, that's so crazy and so big, I'm not sure if we can succeed." Once again, I ask you, Randy, are you fucking kidding me? Too scared to create a video game because you think you might fuck up? That's the stupidest excuse I've ever heard. Sure, I agree that Borderlands 3 should be absolutely amazing and should be innovative in the series, but he has also been quoted saying that Borderlands 3 hasn't even started development. After the enormous success of the Borderlands franchise, you would think that the development of the next iteration of the series would start immediately. If you have so many great ideas, then you better get started on it, don't you think? You know what? I'm sick of this guy. Randy, go get him.
Slithering. Oh, watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!